Not too long ago, I made a video that I entitled, Your Government Has Failed You. Now, I was specifically focusing on the economic issues going on at the time under Joe Biden's economy. So I was pointing to number one, the fact that gas prices are unnecessarily high. And this isn't just a matter about, gas prices being a couple of cents over or 10 cents or 20 cents over. No, no, no. We're talking about gas prices having basically tripled and then dropped back to double what they were during the pandemic when they were under $2 for a gallon of premium unleaded, because during the pandemic, pretty much nobody was driving. On top of that, I pointed to the fact that the government has failed us by making bad trade policy, costing a lot of Americans jobs, especially the ones who are underskilled and underperforming, and basically putting them at risk and on edge. I also point to the fact that the government failed in thinking ahead, in preparing and planning. And now, lo and behold, to tell you the truth, I was expecting something like this to happen, or I was expecting something like this to happen in the media to blow it up. Because the simple fact of the matter is, and we all know this, the Democrat Party is doomed come November. They're absolutely doomed. They know they're going to get annihilated in the polls. So ultimately, at this point, anything that's sexist, racist, homophobic, misogynist, they're going to grab onto every single one of those things and they're going to hype them up as much as they can in the media because they need something to rally voters to get to the polls come November. They know a lot of them are facing they're going to lose their jobs. They already know it. I'm not surprised that this is happening right now at all because I was expecting something like this to happen, or I was expecting them to just play up something like this if it happened in the media. We also know that the Biden administration is focused on taking away as many guns as he can, basically removing your Second Amendment rights. So this is no surprise to me at all that something like this would happen. It's really no surprise at all. I think what really feels like the slap in the face to me is that I already pretty much know what's going to happen in court. He's going to get charged with 10 counts of murder. Each one of them is going to carry somewhere between 20 to life, and he's going to be found guilty of every single count of murder. They'll probably throw some lesser charges at him, but it really doesn't matter because you're being sentenced to 10 concurrent life sentences. To which point I say, what happened to my death penalty here in New York State? I remember when Governor Pataki was in office, we had the death penalty. But lo and behold, the liberals that are in my state were able to somehow get rid of the death penalty. Meanwhile, if you look at most of the red states, I think it's Texas has the firing squad, and if it's not Texas, it's like Arizona. But even if it wasn't one of those, at least they have the lethal injection, where they let you know up front, first of all, our states are either open and concealed carry states. If you murder somebody here, we're going to, as a government, execute you. Now, a lot of people, strangely enough, you have a lot of these liberals who are so worried about abortion rights, which is another thing the Democrats are trying to play up, where they feel that women have the right to terminate fetuses and to basically kill babies in whatever, the third trimester or whatever. If I'm getting it wrong, I really don't care because I really don't believe that these abortion rights are being properly used. As I think, to quote Bill Clinton, abortion should have been legal, safe, and rare. But at this point, you've got OnlyFans models who are getting abortions during whatever part of the trimester, just because they don't want their body ruined so that they can continue just, being the 304s that they are being online, digital stripping and whatnot. So as far as I'm concerned, if the Republicans go whole hog attacking abortion, I could care less. I'm not getting any, and I don't think I ever would get one only under extreme circumstances. Like if I knew the baby was going to come out severely malformed, like Alien 3 or something, yeah, maybe, or Alien Resurrection. Yeah, okay, maybe then I'd get one. But other than that, no. I think the right to abortion is being misused. A lot of people believe that the rights to abortion are unconstitutional because the fetus or the baby at a certain point is supposed to have rights. But again, that's not really my fight right now. But I find it so funny that these liberals are so worried about abortion rights, yet they're so anti-death penalty for terrorists and murderers. Now, let's understand what happened. This bastard didn't just go into that store and just kill people. He live streamed it. He had a camera set up on his gun to make it appear to be like a first-person shooter game, as if you were playing Halo or Call of Duty. He pulled up to the store and he just started shooting people who were outside the store, then shot through the store window to kill people on the opposite side of the window, then ran into the store and started shooting and killing more people. And he did it as if it was a video game, as if it was fun. In my opinion, you can run 10 concurrent life sentences, but you're only going to basically die under one of them. This person should be executed. China, and I brought this up before, China would execute you by taking you out to Soldiers Field, having a soldier put a rifle to the back of your head, put 2 bullets through your head, and then send your family the bill for the bullet because the state's not paying for it. Now, we don't have to do anything that extreme. In my opinion, we should use them as a parts bin, and everybody who needs liver, kidneys, and any parts, we could take him apart like Meineke, and we could give the people who are awaiting organ donations a fresh new start at life. And I would do it, honestly, without anesthetic, but I'm pretty sure somebody would call that cruel and unusual punishment, as if him setting up a camera and going in and killing these people wasn't cruel and unusual. But I get ahead of myself because most people probably, maybe they wouldn't go for that. But then again, in this case, maybe they would. I really don't know. But the death penalty is something that needs to be handed down in this case. But it doesn't surprise me at all that the government is failing to set examples out of these obvious terrorists and white supremacists. I honestly don't care what their reasoning is. I don't care if they're white supremacists. I don't care if they're just simple terrorists. I don't care if, as you just saw in one of these pastings, I don't care if you had COVID, mental illness, and you just decided to go do this. As far as I'm concerned, regardless what your reason, regardless this mental illness bullshit you're claiming, the government should be sticking a needle in your arm. I don't care if the family forgives you. I don't care if the victims, any of them that you left alive, forgive you. The government should be sticking that needle in your arm. But then when I really think about it, the sad thing about it is the people have forgotten how many times this has actually happened. Now, a lot of these mass murderers have been killed. Some of them have killed themselves. But when I think about somebody who killed 77 people, like this guy Breivik, who was in Norway, and he shot up all those people, the mere fact that he's still alive is nothing more than proof to me that this government is failing. And not just the American government, but the governments that have taken after America are failing. Now, in just about any other country I can think of that I've traveled to, that I've lived in, these people would have been executed. You killed 77 people. You're claimed to be a white supremacist. You shot up white people, but you killed 77 people and you're still alive? To me, that's an insult to the victims, and that's an insult to the memory of the victims, and that's an insult to the victims' families. Then I think about the Christchurch massacre in New Zealand. Here in America, nobody really talked about it that much because it was as if the media was trying to cover the whole thing up. I still have that video, just as I have this video, because I make it a point to get these videos and share them with as many people in my family as possible, because even the ones who want to believe that they can live without having protection in their house or on their person, I just want them to see what they're up against. I've said this numerous times. You are in a de facto state of war. And if you're not protecting yourself, then you basically deserve what you get. After seeing these videos, oh yeah, I went out, I started buying weapons. In fact, I think I've mentioned this before. My father used to argue with me about not needing guns in church after Dylan Roof shot up that church in South Carolina. That was another racist attack. My father was arguing with me in front of my grandmother that, oh, you shouldn't have guns in church. That's not necessary. That's not necessary. I don't know what it was, but it must have been the news reportings or he must have seen something. But all of a sudden, he did a 180-degree turn. And then my father went out and bought a shotgun and did his best to get himself a pistol permit and bought himself like 3 or 4 guns. Like, my father turned into fucking Lord of War over there. And it was crazy because I brought it up to him. I was like, wait a minute, aren't you the same person who was arguing with me that we shouldn't have guns and shit in church? And he was like, yeah, well, I guess you were right. And he just turned around on it. When you're up against people like this, there's nothing that you can do for a mind like this except to put them down. And our government is failing us because they're not setting examples out of these people. I don't know if it's just these ridiculous liberals with their constant bullshit and excuses. Oh, well, he didn't have a shower that morning, so his mind wasn't right. Oh, he had a hard childhood. His parents beat... I don't give a fuck about none of that bullshit. These fucking liberals have failed us. This government has failed us. These people need to be taken out of power peacefully, but taken out of power nonetheless. So I keep saying, yeah, what y'all need to do is vote for me. But realistically, I probably am not running because all they'll do on one side of the news is they'll just pick up these videotapes and they'll bring them up against me and say, oh, this guy's a hardcore Republican conservative and he's a right-winger. Excuse me. You failed me as a government. You failed me as a media system. You failed. That's what you've done. You've allowed these people on the trains here in New York to be attacked by people. I've seen assaults on the trains. The people getting shit smeared in their faces on the trains. You do nothing. And you've allowed these people to be attacked. You've allowed these people to be robbed. You've allowed these people to have their houses broken into. No, I really think the public should elect somebody who sounds like me because apparently these people in power seem to have forgotten that the people are our first line of defense. That's why, as far as I'm concerned, I hope Biden's gun control laws go nowhere. In fact, after seeing what I've been seeing, I hope more people go out and buy guns because they are the only thing protecting themselves. The police are nothing more than after the fact evidence gatherers. So already you hear MSNBC and CNN going on and on about quote unquote replacement theory and white supremacism believing in replacement theory. Now you've heard me say it. If you've listened to my rants, you've heard me say it. Yeah, you are being replaced. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, all of us are being replaced because we're unproductive and we're not doing anything. I've said this numerous times. I've said that we're basically being replaced by immigrants because we're not doing anything. Supposedly, I've heard that you have to have 2.5 children just to keep your, how should I say, your ethnicity or your group, your racial group, however you want to phrase it, alive. And you can't have half a child. So basically, you have to have at least 3 children. Well, more and more men are unmarried, not having families, or delaying childbirth so long that the most that they're getting is 1 or 2 children. So yeah, there's a serious problem in this country. I believed at first it stemmed from the loss of jobs from America to Asia, which is just another way of saying that the government failed us. But the thing about it is, these people really, really believe that there's demographic change happening, which there is, because yes, you're being replaced. As I said, you're unproductive. You're busy out there buying guns, going into churches and grocery stores and shooting up people. What you're supposed to be doing is you're supposed to be staying at home, meeting women, talking to women, getting married, and having children. But that's not what you're doing. You're busy playing fucking Halo and Call of Duty and these stupid fucking video games. You're playing Minesweeper and Minecraft and all this stupid shit, and you're not doing anything. I've always said this in my rants. The health of the state is live births. If you're not doing anything, you're unproductive, and the government is going to replace you because there's nothing they can do with you. As far as they're concerned, you're a drain on the economy because you're worth nothing but another welfare check so you can gamble it on Bitcoin. If you're unproductive, you're useless. So basically, most of us pretty much aren't producing the way the government wants us to produce, and they're basically replacing us. So basically, what you have is you have a bunch of racists out marching, chanting, screaming, hey, you're not going to replace us. You're not going to replace us. Meanwhile, your women are online showing themselves off and getting paid while you're busy out there marching around with these tiki torches, not getting any women, not getting any sex, not getting any marriages, not having any children. You're unproductive. In fact, most of you ain't even got jobs. So supposedly this bastard was up there in upstate New York, had to drive. This dude supposedly drove a long distance, like 2 hours, just so he could find some black people to kill because there really aren't that many up there. It's really, really pathetic. But once again, I said it again, you're in a de facto state of war. And it's really not even just along color lines. We've had a number of terrorists recently who were shooting at people indiscriminately and killing people indiscriminately, such as that guy in Las Vegas who was shooting out the hotel window, and he was shooting at a crowd of people at a music festival. He was white, they were white. He didn't even care about color. He was just shooting at these people. You're in a de facto state of war. And the simple fact is your government is doing a terrible job of protecting you. In fact, you can already tell that their answer, you'll probably hear Biden in a couple of days, is more gun control. This person bought all of his weapons legally, and he's had them for so long that gun control wouldn't have done anything about that. Same thing goes for Breivik. The same thing goes for that Christchurch massacre. He was in New Zealand. It's hard to get weapons down there. But the bottom line is your government has failed you. We need the death penalty for terrorists and for murderers, and I'm even willing to throw in violent rapists in there. That's what we need. Without that, we don't set examples, and we need to make the thought of terrorism so abhorrent that anybody who even thinks about it thinks twice and censors themselves. But they're determined to use this prison industrial complex in order to make money off of these people. They don't want them dead. It means more lawyer fees. Charging somebody with 10 counts of murder and keeping them going back and forth to appeals court, that's a lawyer fee. This system is about nothing at this point except debt and fees and services associated with debt. And on top of that, it's based on bullshit. And that's the reality. Your government has failed you. And if you want to argue with me and say, oh, the government hasn't failed me, well, I want you to try to go out and get some baby formula for your kid. I want you to go out and try to get some gas for your car. I want you to go out and ask, why is it that you've got American citizens homeless in California and New York, but somehow the government conjures up $40 billion to mail to Ukraine after Russia has basically already conquered them? Your government has failed you. Your government, as it is right now, has failed you. I feel bad for these people because they actually think that we're living in a democracy. This is not a democracy. This is a republic. Ask half of them what's the difference. They don't even know because they went to school. They didn't have civics class. They have no idea how the law works. They have no idea how the Constitution works. They have no idea how it works. And the government has failed them because they took civics out of the goddamn classrooms. So these people have no idea what this whole situation is supposed to look like. They think they know because a couple of stupid reality shows and The View and MSNBC and CNN and Fox News have explained to them all the shit that they were supposed to know in a half-assed way. The government has failed you. And that's just the bottom line. So as far as these attacks go, I'm not even surprised one happened. I'm definitely not surprised that the rhetoric people talking out about it. I'm not even surprised that any of this is happening right now. And the scary thing to me is that it's just going to get worse as we approach elections in November. And you'll have it even get worse as we approach elections in November 2024. The Biden-Harris ticket already knows that they're done. They already know it. The Democrats who are in office, with the exception of a few strongholds such as New York, California, and places that traditionally and typically vote Democrat, they already know they're done. They know it. They see the writing on the wall. They know it's coming. They know they're screwed. So what are they going to do? They're going to fill your minds with as much of this as they can because they've got nothing else to run on. Your government has failed you.